The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello there and welcome to the show. It's brought to you in association with Levi Solicitors. They are a solicitors firm based out of Leeds but can serve you across the country thanks to their handy website, which is located on the internet at
levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. You don't need the square ball bit.
Why would you say that?
Because you want a discount. I'm saying if you don't want the discount, don't bother with that. If you do want the discount,
use that. Hang on a second, what discount?
10% discount.
Wow.
Across all the legal services they do.
Yep. 10% discount on your legal fees. Probably important to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think people might understand that as?
I don't know.
Okay.
Ask them.
Fine. But yeah, you know about them, don't you?
Well, what if we've got a new viewer or a new listener who doesn't know about them? What sort of services could they look for?
Wills, probate, conveyancing.
Yep.
And other legal services.
For you and for your business.
Correct.
Great stuff. Thanks, Michael. Just say that internet web address again for me.
levisolicitors.co.uk/squareball.
Yes.
There you go.
On with the show. Our weekly roundup. Rob's here as well, and we are recording on Thursday lunchtime. Again, it's that weird zone of feeling like we've not really left the place because we were in till late last night. And I was going to say, it's not that there's no new news happened. The only thing I think that's happened since the game on Wednesday against Norwich is that we've got injuries, and it's heightening the sense of panic around the tumbleweed that we're hearing with regards to incomings for the final week of the transfer window.
Are we keeping a cool head in the final week of the transfer window?
Wouldn't be very Leeds United to do that, would it? It's a weird one listening to Farke, because he's saying all the things that we basically always hear in January, that it's difficult to sign players and the good players are played and their clubs don't want to sell them. And
would you describe it as unbelievable hard?
Unbelievable hard, yeah, exactly. And I think it's frustrating to hear those things because it's kind of true in a lot of cases and it's fair enough. But then at the same time, he is, I won't say dropping hints, he's just been quite honest in saying, well, we've lost Spence and Ayling, so we're 2 players short, and then Cresswell has kind of ruled himself out almost, and that's 3 players short, and Farke saying you'd have to look deeply at our squad to understand where we need strengthening. So I don't know where he might be talking about, do you?
Sign a right back, is that what we've evolved to now?
Sign a right back, sign a left back. I think I'm comfortable with either actually at this stage, because Sam Byram can sort of do both, can't he? So we can pretend he's a right back or a left back, depending on our purposes, and we can also, as stretch, sign a midfielder so Archie can then be a proper right back.
Yes, if his knee's okay, that is.
That is true. He's young though, and he'll be fine.
I actually just wanted to mention about the injury situation. So Archie's pulled his knee a bit. Hopefully nothing too serious, as Farke said on Wednesday. Dan James, the old adductors. Can you shed some light? I mean, we explained, I think it's one of the recent shows, what the adductor is, which is one of the muscles that goes between it's around the leg bone and the tummy bone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you Googling?
No, nothing. It's just checking my emails.
Just while we're talking.
As an aside, yeah, the adductors, as I explained the other week, they're a group of muscles that go from the pelvic bone down to the inner thigh and also the knee.
Yeah. Could we do without them? If we get Rob Price, the old butcher of Beeston, to go in there, take the adductors out of everyone, then they can't be strained.
Yes. Although I think no adductors is you'd probably just be like a jellyfish.
What if we left one adductor in? Minimise the risk by 50% risk.
Do we know how many they've each got?
I'm guessing at 2, but you're the expert.
Yeah, it varies person to person.
Because you can survive like with 1 kidney or 1 lung. I'm saying 1 adductor for each of our footballers rather than 2.
Okay.
Cut that risk.
Okay, well, if it's a grade 1, you're looking at just a mild strain with a slight pull or tiny tearing. There's no loss of strength and the muscle and tendon are the correct length. But if you're grade 2, it's more of like a moderate strain where the tearing of fibres within the body of the muscle or the tendon, the muscle or tendon are actually longer, it says, and there's a loss of, and there's a loss of strength.
Does that match up with your experience?
Yeah, grade 3, though, is a full tear, but they're rare.
Is this how we're doing the play ratings at the end of the season? The grade of a adductor strain.
The adductor scale. But being serious about it, pain in the arse getting injuries in it, but they're always going to bite at some point. I think we've been pretty lucky so far. Or is it luck or is it by design, the way that they've managed the minutes of the players and the loads and all that, because one of the things I've been really impressed with Farke, the season's had its ups and downs, hasn't it? But he's always stressed that it is a long road, there's a long way to go, and it's a slog, and you have to be careful and allow your players to, supposed to have that rest and recovery to deal with the load of the season.
Is Ethan Ampadu.
I was going to say, if you're in the team, you sort of stay in the team, don't you? It was a bit like that with Bielsa, where it was like, it's a hard team to get into, but once you're in it, you've got the backing of him. But it was kind of predictable that we got a few injuries last night, because I think it was his pre-match press conference, Farke was saying how much good luck we've had with injuries recently. Now it was only really Strauch and Dallas that were out, and you thought, yeah, we know what happens next.
So go on then, put together your wish list for the last week of the window. So, because we'll be rounding it up, we'll be this time next week. Let's have a look at the calendar. 1st of Feb. I think the deadline is the 1st of February.
Are we going realistic, or are we going get the Argos catalogue? Say you want a Mega Drive, a SNES,
yeah,
a TV.
Yeah.
Are we doing all that, or is it just like realistically, you get to pick one big present?
Do both.
I want a Scalextric at left back.
I mean, I'd still probably say a left back if I could choose a position.
Right.
If we could be picky, left back.
Do you want to make Junior unhappy?
Left back number 10.
Junior is the happiest he's ever been, and I think you want him to now be unhappy.
No, I don't. He can stay. He stays in the team, as far as I'm concerned. Even if we sign someone new, he stays in the team at the moment.
So you want a striker then as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want a bit of everything.
Well,
I missed that when I was thinking about Junior Firpo.
Well, we don't seem to play Pirot as a striker, and we've looked better with Bamford in the team. And Bamford doing that sort of stuff has been good, but we know he gets injured a lot. So,
right. But then surely, because you've got Pirot, you could then put him back in.
But does he do the same?
We paid north of 10 million quid
We've
for
not
him,
really seen enough of him in that position, have we, to know if he can do the same stuff?
Because you could put him in there, and I dare say Farke might mix him and Jorginho around again. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Let's sign some fullbacks. That's the thing that's been staring us in the face for about 10 years.
What about the centre-back position as well? Do you think maybe Sam Byram's an option there? I'm just thinking, because you've got Cresswell, who's either he's on his way out or effectively AWOL at the minute, out of contention.
Well, we've got Cooper and Strauch.
Me, Coops.
And Ampadu has been really good at centre-back. Arguably that's our best centre-back pairing, I would say, is Rodon and Ampadu from what we've seen of them.
But then there's the question of midfield, isn't there? That if you're then playing Ampadu in the back four, and Archie's injured, you've got two midfielders left.
Yeah,
because we've gone from a situation where we've got this embarrassment of riches in midfield to they're all playing and one of them's now injured.
But you've got Jamie Shack who can go right back, or I think that's why buying another fullback just gives you the options, because it means Archie becomes definitely a midfielder, and then Jamie Shackleton is kind of cover for both, and I don't know. There are options there. It feels like we are in just about in danger of being completely overstretched. But then it's kind of all fine at the moment.
Cresswell's really fucked it basically, because he's given Ampadu a chance to play centre back, and he's essentially pushed himself further down the pecking order. It's like, well, you thought you were fourth choice centre back, and you weren't happy with that. Now it turns out you're fifth choice, and kind of on merit as well.
Yeah, you wonder what's happened there. Because I dare say the family Cresswell wasn't that pleased about Farke going public with it, because that does tend to suggest a burning of bridges, doesn't it?
I don't think...
Not Michael Bridges.
Farke didn't seem pleased about, the timing of Farke kind of digging Cresswell out a little bit was coincided with Father Cresswell's Instagram post. But it just feels like Charlie's kind of not learned his lesson from last season a little bit. Like, he went on loan to Millwall, and this time last year, everyone was a bit like, oh, do we recall him? Do we sell him? Because he's not really getting a game at Millwall. Then he kept his head down, got into the team, and played really well. And then he was in the team until the end of the season when he was injured, wasn't he? And it's like, if he'd just kept that patience this season, he would have been playing now, because Strauch and Cooper are injured, and it would have been his chance. And instead, all that's happened is Ampadu's got a chance there instead. Gruev sort of took his chance in midfield, and now you look at him going, you want to just go play football somewhere else?
We have said, haven't we, before that he carries himself with the demeanour of like a middle-aged man. He's got that sort of confidence despite his youth. And you wonder if he's just got into Farke's office.
His feet up on the table.
Oh, yeah. All right, Dan. Are you playing me or what?
I mean, that kind of is what happened, isn't it? Because Farke was saying he thinks he should be in the first two centre-halves. And he's like, well, bloody hell, you've got Wales international Joe Road on ahead of you, who's been playing really well. Got Pascal Strauch, who's got however many games under his belt and has, been in a Holland squad at least. What were you expecting this season, Charlie? I think the fact Cooper maybe got a chance ahead of him at certain occasions has frustrated him, but train better, be better.
There is obviously a younger Cresswell as well, isn't there? Alfie in the under-18s.
Right.
Do we need to keep the whole family sweet?
Right.
To keep him? I don't know. It's like the Greys. You need to look down the generations a little bit and be like, well,
talking about the families. the Greys and the Cresswells.
Exactly.
Great. Other stuff then. A young player who seems to be tied to the club, but in terms of playing it the right way, taking the minutes where they're available. Mateo Joseph, new deal, 2028. What do you reckon to that? We've not really seen that much of him, but he seems to have come into this season with his reputation enhanced a little bit. I don't know. Is that fair?
Yeah, and he seems to be an option from the bench, admittedly, one that we're chucking on late in games at the moment.
To kick people and get booked.
To kind of win some stuff in the air and make himself a bit of a nuisance. But I like what I've seen of him when I've not seen him play for the first team, if you know what I mean, because he's not had a proper chance, has he?
What does he do?
He seems quite a traditional striker in a lot of ways.
Yeah, he does a bit of everything. I think that's what's impressed me when he's played for the under-21s is that he's kind of involved in everything. Like, presses really well and gets stuck in, scores lots of goals, sets up goals, kind of links play well. And you saw that with players like Somerville and Gelhardt, where they were just, whenever Leeds played well, the under-21s, they were involved in everything, whether it was with the ball or without the ball, to quote Hecky. And that's why I always had a bit of a caution with players like JB, because they always look good, but then they'd really drift out of games at that level sometimes, or just make daft mistakes, whereas Joseph and Somerville were just always class, and you see kind of Somerville's development anyway is kind of carried on that way. So hopefully Joseph, he just needs to stay patient and we'll do similar.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those players that if we go up, I kind of suspect he'll have a year on loan, but if we don't, he'll probably be a key part of next season. Yeah,
and we said before, like about the Premier League, if you get, we need to get back there first, as always. But it's quite an old league. Very few young players tend to make the breakthrough, which is why seeing what's happened to Archie Gray is quite interesting, I think, from a Leeds perspective. Is that I know there's more chances. There are more chances for younger players in the EFL for budgetary reasons or whatever it might be. But when you get into the Premier League, it tends to be the tried and tested ones, doesn't it, who play. But I could see Archie making the step up immediately on the basis of what we've seen this season.
Yeah, I think Archie's a bit of an exception to a lot of things. He's extraordinarily good, and the level of composure he has for someone of that age is ridiculous. And I mean, looking back, was Archie Gray that much worse a year ago that he couldn't have played instead of Rasmus Christensen at fullback? Because I would definitely have preferred to see it.
Would Jesse, though?
No, he wasn't all in, probably.
No. Lewis Bates, in terms of young midfielders, has gone to MK Dons on loan. Feels like his race is pretty much run here and that one's done.
Yeah, I mean, the fact he's dropped to division further than he was last season. He was on loan at Oxford last season in League One, and by all accounts did well. I think it was Carl Robinson there who was bigging him up as one of the best players he's worked with. But then to drop down to League Two a year later, 6 months later, and I think he's out of contract at the end of the year.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, he is. Check back. We signed him on a 3-year deal, and that's come around pretty quickly, hasn't it?
Yeah. It sort of all points towards, and I don't want to do him dirty because I've not really seen enough of him to form that much of an opinion. But he's got the kind of maybe Alex Mowat type level is his ceiling. I don't know. Float around League One, maybe Championship.
Yeah, maybe has to go down a bit.
Work your way back up. Yeah,
play a full season or two somewhere and work his way back. Because he seemed always like quite a composed and tidy footballer, but I don't know. He's always been. He's quite little, isn't he?
Yeah.
But, lots of midfielders are small. It's it's not going to work from here, is it?
I was going to say, it feels like dropping down a division sort of works against him because he doesn't have that physicality. I remember someone telling me that when he first joined Leeds, Bielsa sort of saw him as the Phillips replacement. He just needed to bulk up, which could take years. But I don't think Leeds has been a great place necessarily for some of these emerging players because a lot of them might have signed under Bielsa and playing a certain way, and then managers have changed, and then they've constantly changed, and then some loan moves maybe haven't worked out, and you eventually get to the point where it's like you just got to be a footballer somewhere else.
Yeah, I did because he did make his debut for MK Dons, and I did check in, and I noticed I sort of was aware he was still playing, but seeing Dean Lewington in their team, it's just still jarring.
Yeah,
he's my age,
right,
and he's just been at MK Dons forever. Like we were playing against him in League One. It just feels like he should have moved on by now.
He's not in the under-21s.
For For God's sake, retire.
Just a couple of things to touch on there. You mentioned Calvin. He's off to West Ham, isn't he? On loan from Man City. Good luck, I suppose.
Does he know it's in London?
Yeah, I don't know. Does he? I don't know if there's an obligation or anything in that, but I'm convinced that if we go back up, he'll end up back here on loan. It feels like, and that's not necessarily from a Leeds footballing perspective or whether the finances would work. Just strikes me as a bit of a home bird, which is exactly what you're sort of touching on there. Like, does he know it's London? Not Leeds, is it?
I mean, he might. He could fully Kevin Nichols it. Just say he's not happy anywhere else. He got a move and then was like, I don't actually like it. I just want to go home.
It's funny how I was like really up for him to go to Italy or somewhere like that, and he's gone to London. I'm like, London?
Well, he's going to hate that, obviously.
Talking about change at the club as well there, Rob Scott Gardner is now the 21s coach. He was promoted on an interim basis, wasn't he, from within the club. He's now got the 21s gig with Stuart Downing joining him as a coach. Is that one of his first career coaching jobs, I think, is it? It was said.
I think so. I'm not too sure. It feels a little bit like a Football Manager save where you sort of stick an advert out for a reserve team manager and you just get a load of former footballers and it's like, which one do I like the most? I'm going to hire them. On my recent save, I had Michael Doyle as under-18 manager. Yeah.
People I like.
And I was really peeved off because he left to get a manager's job somewhere else, but, he's fine.
It's amazing. I wonder how much that bias actually goes into the real football world. Like you. I mean,
it definitely helps with people getting jobs, doesn't it? Look at Wayne Rooney and Frank Lampard.
Yeah.
I was going to say on my Football Manager save, Lampard applied to be like under-21s manager. I just thought, you can fuck off, mate. You're not getting the job.
Have the 21s played again, by the way? Because there was that postponement, wasn't there, against Luton?
No, not played since.
Yeah, it keeps getting postponed.
Bit too blowy out. It's been very windy.
I think it was cold, frozen pitch. I think that was
cold. Too cold, too windy. We need the Goldilocks zone, don't we? Hey, you mentioned Rasmus before. He's been in bother, hasn't he? Hot on the heels of Brendan Aronson's driving convictions. Rasmus has been in bother as well.
He's on his phone. He's speeding. He's not got insurance. Fucking hell.
He's a fucking shambles, isn't he?
What a complete clown.
It reminded me of this news that when he first signed for Leeds, I wrote a thing for the blog and it was him getting interviewed with Max Verber at one of the Bulls Piss franchises. And one of the questions they got asked was who drives the fastest? And they both sort of looked guiltily at Rasmus. And he's like, I think Verber says, yeah, he drives a little riskier than me. And you think,
he's out of control, isn't he?
I mean, it's also in that interview that Rasmus says he doesn't eat fruit or vegetables. So the warning signs were really there from the start. Yeah.
You're a footballer, man.
He's an athlete there, just bragging about, no, I don't eat any of that. It's like, what an absolute shambles of a bloke he is.
I mean, I don't want to fall back on Danish stereotypes, but does he just exist on bacon?
Sounds pretty nice, actually.
You would, wouldn't you?
It is really good, his bacon.
For a professional footballer, though?
Yeah, he's not shown... From what we've seen of him, there's not much about him that strikes me as a professional footballer. I'm talking passing, positional sense.
Throw-ins.
Yeah, any of it, really. So I suppose it's only fitting that diet comes into that as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's had to pay out quite a lot of money on these driving offences. Is it a grand total of about $2,500?
Satanic fines. £666 fine.
Yeah, plus a 666 surcharge. It's linked to earnings, isn't it, I think? When the court fines people. So,
I mean, it isn't because, that's fuck all to him. Absolutely nothing at all, surely, a £600 fine.
Yeah, but I say in total £2,500. That'd make a fair dent in my bank balance. I don't know about you.
It's like a day's work for him.
Yeah.
It really, doesn't surprise you what happened last season. The more you read about some of the people that were playing for us, where you think, you're just idiots. Just completely don't know what life is, do you?
It does make you think as well, if someone in the club, they need more backroom staff there to be going, right, you need something called insurance. Have you got any insurance? No. Right, okay.
But they do have I think they do have almost like fixers, don't they, at professional clubs? Because these lads, particularly if they come through the academies or whatever, they've just got no real world experience. Because they're not cleaning boots anymore, are they? And, on 20 quid a week or whatever the old YTS contracts were. They sign them up on massive terms and it's getting younger and younger because the academy system is becoming so important to FFP. As the farms at the big clubs show, and look at Finlay Gorman going to Man City and all that kind of thing. So they've got these really cosseted lives from a young age, and then you've got players who are coming from abroad, and particularly ones who've got no experience in this country. So if you sign a player from Africa, for example, he's not necessarily going to be au fait with the school system or how you get your shopping delivered or anything like that. But as a consequence of that, they're getting completely nannied from...
Well, not
it's
enough.
24/7, isn't it?
Not enough for Rasmus.
No.
He needs a full-time carer.
He needs a driver.
I mean, to be fair, though, in light of that, it's remarkable that he's achieved what he has in his career, becoming an international footballer and playing in the Champions League and playing for Roma. It's like, bloody hell, how has this happened? Like, can anyone explain this?
The Square Ball Podcast.